Okay, let's unpack this. When we talk about state-sponsored cybercrime, our minds usually jump to things like massive digital heists, right?
Mhm.
Maybe banks, military secrets, or, increasingly crypto wallets.
Yeah, that's the typical picture. But the sources we've gathered today, they point to something really quite different, almost mundane in a way, but with huge implications.
It's a fascinating pivot, isn't it? We're doing a deep dive today into how North Korean state operatives seem to be shifting focus. They're moving away from pure hacking or crypto theft.
And systematically targeting, believe it or not, white-collar jobs.
Mhm.
Specifically, we're seeing this in U.S. architectural design and civil engineering firms.
Right. So this isn't about like planting malware to steal blueprints. It's about actually winning the contract, getting the job.
And being the architect, the person designing, say, a commercial deck or maybe even a residential pool.
Exactly. And that's our mission for this deep dive, to really analyze the source material that details how the DPRK is pulling this off.
And we need to be absolutely clear about the stakes from the get-go. This isn't just, simple contractor fraud. It's way beyond that.
Okay.
It's a highly sophisticated, systemic funnel. Every single dollar earned through these schemes bypasses international
And
sanctions
that goes where?
directly to Pyongyang. It's funding their nuclear weapons development, their ballistic missile programs. It's become a critical revenue stream for them.
So if we connect the dots, this looks like a major evolution of those DPRK IT worker schemes we've heard about for years now.
Precisely. It's the next stage. They're not just after tech jobs anymore. They're leveraging this huge vulnerability that the global shift to remote work and freelance platforms has created.
You can just blend
They
in.
blend in perfectly.
Okay, so let's start with this target expansion. Architecture, engineering. Why these fields? Our sources show operatives specifically posing as these design professionals, moving well beyond traditional IT.
Well, it seems to come down to a couple of factors. Feasibility is one. Freelance design contracts, they often rely heavily on portfolios, reputation,
Hmm?
maybe less on those really deep in-person background checks.
Right, especially with remote hiring.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And the nature of the work itself, architectural drafting, engineering analysis, it lends itself perfectly to being done remotely. All the software, CAD, Revit, it can all be run from anywhere.
And the level of deception involved?
Yeah.
It sounds meticulous. The sources talk about fake profiles, fabricated education, really convincing resumes.
Oh, yeah. And even using stolen Social Security numbers to land legitimate U.S. freelance contracts. They're building these entire shadow identities from the ground up.
Wow.
And it doesn't stop there. They develop multiple distinct fake personas. But maybe the most alarming part, the forged credentials.
Forged credentials, like what?
We're talking forged professional licenses,
Yeah.
official architectural stamps, things that, if a hiring manager sees them or they're submitted for permits, they look completely authentic.
That's worrying. And technology plays a role here too, right? Cutting edge tech meets international crime.
Absolutely. Our sources point out that advanced AI tools are now pretty central to this scheme.
How are they using AI?
Well, for starters, generating highly convincing resumes, tailored perfectly to get past those automated applicant tracking systems that so many companies use.
Okay, so AI helps them get their foot in the door.
And it extends right up to the interview stage. The sources suggest AI helps them mask their true identity during video interviews, during the screening process.
Mask their identity. You mean like deep fakes?
It strongly implies the use of sophisticated deepfake technology, yeah, to make sure the person on the video call, who might actually be thousands of miles away, looks and maybe even sounds consistent with the legitimate American identity they've stolen or fabricated.
So they're turning the very tools designed to streamline hiring, like AI resume screeners and video calls, completely against the system.
It's deeply ironic, isn't it? And the sheer breadth of this infiltration strategy is huge,
Where are they finding these jobs mainly?
primarily through major freelance platforms. The big ones you or your company might use every day. This lets them offer architectural, engineering services nationwide without initially raising any geographical red flags.
Yeah.
They just look like another remote contractor vying for work.
Let's talk scale then, because the money is clearly the main driver here. You mentioned it funds weapons programs. What kind of numbers are we looking at?
Based on UN estimates cited in the sources, the minimum annual revenue from all global DPRK IT worker operations, and that now includes these architectural scams, is conservatively put at around $250 million.
250 million, minimum.
That's the floor. The sources indicate the upper estimate could be as high as $600 million.
Annually.
$600 million. That's staggering.
To put that in perspective, that's like a mid-sized corporation's revenue.
Yeah.
But it's all running illicitly solely to fund WMDs.
And how many people are involved in this?
The sources estimate well over 1,000 operatives are embedded, working across all sorts of sectors, from small businesses needing a quick drawing done, right up to Fortune 500 companies, worldwide. Managing over 1,000 fake identities, tracking applications, payments. The logistics must be incredible.
It's staggering, yes. But leaked data seems to confirm this meticulous planning. We're talking about extensive operations tracked through thousands of emails, detailed spreadsheets, comprehensive databases full of fake identities.
So it's not just random fraud, it's highly systematized.
Exactly. These systems monitor everything: application status, interview schedules, tracking earnings across all these different fake personas simultaneously. A real operation.
And how do they hide where they actually are, if they're in North Korea or somewhere else?
Well, to hide their true origins and get around platform geo-blocking, the sources mention something called laptop farms. This is crucial.
Laptop farms, what are those?
These aren't just, single laptops. Often they're large arrays of computers, physically located in places that help them evade sanctions, often China or Russia, maybe sometimes North Korea itself.
Okay, so physical machines in other countries. What do they do?
They use these farms, combined with sophisticated VPNs and specialized hardware, to basically simulate a genuine, continuous U.S.-based login history and IP address profile.
So if a platform only allows users from, say, Texas,
The operative in Pyongyang routes their connection and their work through a physical, managed laptop sitting in Texas. It defeats the location checks and makes their digital footprint look completely legitimate.
that level of simulation is, wow, it really underlines the sophistication.
And it's not just overseas infrastructure either. We need to mention the role of accomplices inside the U.S.
Accomplices here.
Yes. The sources note that U.S.-based individuals have actually been convicted for aiding these schemes, providing U.S. addresses, opening bank accounts, laundering millions in illicit proceeds right here. It's a truly global financial network built to dodge sanctions.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about the money, the scale.
Yeah.
But what about the actual work product? You said they're designing things like decks and pools. What's the risk there? This feels like the most chilling part.
I agree. The leaked data didn't just contain spreadsheets. It had detailed 2D and 3D CAD drawings for real U.S. projects. Residential homes, commercial decks, restaurants, swimming pools, actual designs.
And were these designs used?
This is where it gets really concerning. The sources explicitly state that some of these architectural plans were reportedly used in actual construction projects.
Oh, wow. So the risk moves from digital right into the physical world. Public safety, liability.
Exactly. Imagine hiring who you think is a legitimate remote designer off a major platform, getting plans, starting construction, only to discover later the design was flawed. Maybe because the operative lacked genuine engineering knowledge or understanding of local building codes?
The liability for the company that hired them and just the safety risk for anyone using that building or structure, it's immense.
You could end up with fundamentally unsafe structures, all built on the assumption that a properly licensed, verified professional created those blueprints.
Which brings us back to those forged credentials you mentioned. They're not just faking resumes, they're faking the official sign-offs.
That's right. They don't just forge the license number. They forged the actual official stamps needed for regulatory approval. Investigators found examples of forged professional seals.
Like?
One specific example was an official stamp belonging to a registered architect in Ontario, Canada. It was being used fraudulently on Canadian projects to bypass local permitting. It shows they understand the system and target those regulatory weak points.
That focus on regulatory loopholes. It really raises questions about how easily they could infiltrate sensitive areas, maybe even government-adjacent projects. Is there evidence of that?
Yes, there's a fascinating case study in the sources, the Oregon Campaign website incident. It really highlights the stealth aspect.
What happened there?
Essentially, a North Korean IT worker managed to get back-end access to a state legislator's campaign website.
How? Did they hack it?
No, not directly. They got access through a completely normal business relationship. They were hired by a legitimate subcontractor who just needed some technical design help for the website. Completely innocuous on the surface.
And the vetting process didn't catch them.
That's the key point. The sources confirm no red flags popped up during the hiring and vetting by that subcontractor. The infiltration was totally stealthy.
So how was it detected then?
It underscores the need for ongoing monitoring. Luckily, the campaign's security team spotted suspicious login activity.
What kind of activity?
Logins coming from highly unusual geographic locations, ones that just didn't match the operative's supposed U.S. residence. They acted quickly, secured the site, and fortunately, no user data was compromised.
Close call.
Very. But it's compelling proof that this infiltration is happening, and not just in architecture. It can touch sensitive areas through these third-party relationships.
So putting this all together,
Yeah.
what does this mean for you, the listener, if you're managing hiring, maybe using freelance platforms, especially in skilled fields like design, engineering, even web development? What should you be doing?
Well, the sources lay out 4 pretty clear, actionable defense measures. Think of it as a new security checklist for hiring remote talent.
Okay, what's the first one?
First, scrutinize those resumes. Really look closely. Be alert for profiles that seem paradoxically almost too polished, but maybe have inconsistencies.
Like what kind of inconsistencies?
Hyper-optimized language? Maybe. But then weird employment gaps or credentials and references that you just can't seem to verify if it looks too good to be true.
It probably is. Okay, makes sense. What's number 2?
Second, strengthen your verification process. Because they might be using AI, deepfakes, synthesized identities. Basic ID checks might not cut it anymore.
Right.
You need more robust identity verification protocols. And crucially, consider deploying AI detection tools during the hiring process. Tools specifically designed to spot deepfakes or synthesized visuals used in video interviews.
Yeah.
Basically, fight AI with AI.
Okay, stronger vetting up front. What else?
Third, don't just focus on new hires. Audit your existing staff, especially your remote workforce.
Re-verify people already on the payroll.
Yes. Re-verify credentials, maybe use stronger third-party verification services this time, and continuously monitor for those telltale signs, suspicious login patterns, unusual system access requests, weird geolocations like in the Oregon case. Constant vigilance.
Even fourth measure?
Immediate action if you detect something. If you see odd requests, suspicious fund transfers, strange logins, don't wait. Report it. Contact federal authorities immediately. The sources stress that time is absolutely critical when dealing with potential state-sponsored infiltration.
Because the stakes are so high.
Exactly. We have to keep reminding ourselves of the geopolitical angle here. The reason they take these huge risks is the massive payoff. These IT worker schemes are a vital source of funds, bypassing sanctions, directly fueling WMD program. Disrupting this isn't just good business practice, it's a matter of national security.
Which is why the U.S. State Department actually offers rewards, right?
Significant financial rewards, yes. Up to millions of dollars for credible information that leads to identifying and disrupting these DPRK operatives and their support networks, their facilitators. There's a real incentive for the private sector to step up and help.
So ultimately, it takes a village, so to speak.
It really does. The sources emphasize that shutting down this kind of funding for authoritarian regimes needs truly coordinated efforts. Private sector vigilance, law enforcement action, international cooperation. Everyone has a role. Vigilance in the freelance marketplace is key, not just for your company's security, but for protecting critical infrastructure and global stability.
So to wrap up this deep dive, these North Korean architectural and engineering scams, they really represent a significant, sophisticated evolution in state-sponsored cybercrime. It's like they're not just trying to pick the lock on the castle anymore.
No, they're applying for the job as the castle's architect and using the remote work economy, these everyday freelance platforms, as their hidden way in. And maybe we can leave you, the listener, with this final thought to mull over. If a significant chunk of funding for weapons of mass destruction can now come not just from, complex cyber heists, but potentially from the seemingly ordinary process of getting a deck designed or a pool planned through a freelance website.
Yeah.
What does that really tell us about the completely unexpected weak points, the potential points of failure that the remote work economy might have accidentally created? Not just for global security, but potentially for your company. The threat isn't necessarily hidden behind layers of firewalls anymore. It might just be sitting there, right in your payroll system.